Right? Guys, just so you know, 5 people who share this video are going to get a free copy of Tae Tae and the Believers mailed right to you. And it just so happens we have the author, creator, the thought behind Tae Tae and the Believers, Diante, with us. What's going on, Diante?
You know, Nick, just making it happen. What about you, my guy?
Man, I'm just excited to be here with you and just to share this message with more people out there. And I first just want to get, what was the creative process? Like, when did you first know you were going to create Tae Tae and the Believers?
All right, people. So this is a very educated group, right? And they understand nuance.
And if they aren't, then they will be educated. That's the whole purpose of doing this.
I always knew, right? Yeah. Because just to give you some backstory, the people I'm inspired by, I look at are the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, the Jeff Bezos, the Mark Cubans, right? These moguls who have multiple streams of income, multiple businesses, right? And just part of that was just story, right? I love, those rags to riches stories. Those were what really inspired me. So I was like, dang, that's one of the things I'm gonna do before I die. I'm gonna have a New York Times bestseller, right?
Hell yeah.
However, I was blessed, right? Yeah. 2-parent household. Nothing but love, very stable environment.
Right. We were talking about that last Friday, and you had the absolute utmost support surround you as well.
Yep. So I didn't have that rags and riches story. So that's when I was like, boom, I could still impact and create a New York Times bestseller or a children's book that inspires and kind of is loosely based on my story. So,
and it's I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. And I know last time we talked too, there was a specific reason why you woke up one day, right?
Oh yeah.
And you said, I am going to, and it's like, that's like so many times I've had that thought process too, like one day I'm going to do it. And I appreciate you sharing that. What was that one thing that said, now is the time I'm going to write this?
Boom, boom, boom. So when it all clicked and I was like, boom, this is it. Was when George Floyd happened, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, going through the emotions as a Black male, right?
Yeah.
I was like, first, I don't understand it.
Right.
What the hell is racism? And when I got the time to think back and really kind of digest, I was like, boom, we have an imagery issue, right? And when I
look at them, because I heard this and I think it's amazing. The imagery was like very impactful and very enlightening to me to hear your side, like your partake on this.
Right. So we had an imagery issue in my opinion, right? And just looking back on my childhood, how I was raised, there's not much positive, at least enough that I believe, that Black imagery, right? I didn't have that. Of course, I love superheroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they look like you,
right?
To be honest, right?
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it does something.
Except for the Justice League, the one episode, like the one series of Green Lantern, right?
Exactly.
But like you said, 99% of the other times,
it's just a white guy or a green Hulk, right? You know what I mean? So I was like, this is how I'm going to impact imagery, is creating a brand of Tae Tae, right?
Yeah.
That young Black boys can grow up and see themselves in positive light. They can imagine being firefighters, astronauts, pro wrestlers, things of that nature, right? Through this brand, Medicine in the Candy, right? and just growing up and seeing that positive imagery, and what ends up developing off of that. Yeah. And this is how I grew up, is that I was just surrounded by everybody, right? Whether it was religions, whether it was races, different races. So as growing up, the imagery around me, I was able to judge people as an adult, right? I don't care what you look like. You're either Black or white. You're a good person, or pardon my French, or you're just an asshole.
Yeah,
right.
So
absolutely. That's just point blank. Period. So that's what the whole imagery aspect was. So that's how I created Tae Tae. Like, wow, these young kids can grow up, get used to seeing this Black complexion. When you're a Black boy growing up, having something to pride in it, even if you're a young white kid, you still love the story, and you're just used to seeing that complexion.
And like you were saying with imagery too, I believe we covered this when we were talking about it before. Just being a white individual, seeing a Black person be able to do these things, it becomes more just this is what can happen. This is what everybody can do. So it's the imagery that works on both sides.
Exactly.
And just again, guys, 5 people who share this, you're gonna get a free copy of Tae Tae and the Believers. But but what do you have a specific story in Tae Tae and the Believers? I know there's a lot of good ones in there. Do you have like one that you were writing that really stuck out to you, like a specific section of it?
So my favorite section is the astronaut.
You want to show us? Yo, we got it right here.
See,
Come
Nick
on.
is good. He's
Yeah,
good,
see?
man. Nick is good.
All right.
So, growing up,
Just a little sneak peek,
all
guys.
the little stories in here where you see whether it's a pro wrestler and the different things were all things I wanted to be up growing up because those were the imageries that I grew up watching.
Everyone wanted to be a space cowboy,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So I remember there was a time, as you guys see here, right?
Yeah.
Boom. I wanted to be an astronaut, right? And there used to be a little commercial of Kennedy Space Center where there was space camp.
Man, it's crazy those things that you remember, especially growing up, that stick in your subconscious, which is what Tae Tae is going to do, is stick in their subconscious. Bingo.
Prepare for that.
Right. You're going to be sleeping thinking of Tae Tae and the Believers. Yeah, come on.
Your kids are going to, it's so easy, right? Tae Tae, your kids are going to say Tae Tae. My one goal, right, beyond, being surpassing Dr. Seuss, right? And it's going to be, it's the best, kids story, children's bedtime story there is, point blank period. But
back to the astronaut, the Kennedy commercial.
Exactly, astronaut. But I remember telling my parents, I want to be a astronaut. I want to go to space. Take me to space camp. Didn't have money to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just a simple fact that I was exposed to that, I had the imagery of that. It always stuck with me.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite part of it because just like you said, I was like, dang, I didn't even remember that I remembered that.
Yeah.
So I started writing the book.
It's amazing when you start writing things down to those things that are deep in the subconscious and actually seeing. I've dealt with this a lot recently too. Identifying a point in my life where, wow, I've been acting this way because of this one incident. And you don't realize it until it happens. And that's why I think the power of imagery of you're saying. Do you want to dive a little deeper into what the imagery they can expect when they read Tae Tae and the Believers? Right.
So one of the things, and if you guys go to Tae Tae's World official on Instagram, you'll see it's the impact is so great. One of these kids read the book. He did a book report, and what he got from it, these are his words, and you'll see. He said, "Reading this, I learned that anything I think of, I can achieve, for lack of better terms." Just that simple sentence shook me, just changed me, because it shows how malleable kids are, right? In a good sense, to where something as simple as reading a book can shape their belief, their thought process and stuff like that. Yeah. So it just leads to, like I said, imagery. At the end of the day, it was affirmation. This book literally. He may not have believed in himself before that until you read that. That's
why it's Tae Tae and the Believers. Man, so that just hit me. It's the believers are everybody that reads the book. Am I right in saying that? The believers are each and every one. So guys, become a believer. There we go. Become a believer. Guys, 5 people who share this are going to get a free copy. We're also going to put a link where if you don't get one of those free copies, you can get one of your own. I highly recommend it, guys. So guys, Diante, thank you so much for coming on and sharing about Tae Tae and the Believers. Guys, become a believer. Become a believer. Diante, thank you so much.
Boom.